Hello there, fellow Illuminers and Disney fans. Get ready to dive into a magical world with a twist as we introduce you to the enchanting universe of Disney Lorcana, the trading card game that brings your favorite Disney characters to life in a whole new way. Just like your favorite trading card games, Disney Lorcana lets you to create your own deck of cards and battle it out against your friends in epic duels. The goal here isn't to defeat your opponent's health, it's all about racing to collect 20 lore points through quests and abilities. Now let's look at the game's basic rules in just under 10 minutes. At the beginning of a game, each player draws 7 cards from their decks. A deck consists of 60 cards from either 1 or 2 inks, where the ink is represented by the color of each card. After seeing your hand, you can choose to discard any number of cards and redraw. This action is called mulligan and can greatly improve your odds in a duel. Now let's talk about the main resource of the game, ink. Ink is essentially the cost to play a card. You can get ink by putting cards in your inkwell once a turn. Let's look at Jasmine. At the top left corner, you can see that she has a cost of 5 to play. The swirl around the symbol indicates that you can also use her as an ink resource. Some cards cannot be used as ink resources and are called inkless. Let's now return to our game. Inkwell is typically below your deck. To use some of your better cards, you need to accumulate ink over several turns. Ink is a permanent resource that replenishes itself each turn. The cost of the cards you put in your inkwell does not matter, and each card counts as a single ink. Let's look at an example. First, we show the card we want to put in our inkwell to our opponent, so we can verify it's not inkless. In this case, it's Aladdin. Now, we place it face down in our inkwell, and from now on, we have one available ink to use each turn. In Lorcana, there are 3 types of cards: characters, items, and actions. We will now go through each category separately. Characters are the core of your deck and stay in the battlefield until they are banished. They have typically these 5 attributes. Ink, which is the cost to play the card. Strength, the damage they can do to other characters in a challenge. Willpower, the damage they can sustain in challenges. Abilities, that are special mechanisms and change some of the game's basic rules. And lore value, the amount of lore received during a quest. Items are a different card category that helps you get some effects on the field that you can use at a later time. Essentially, items can be considered as character abilities that are not attached to a specific character and thus have some protection. Some items can be reused multiple times. But be aware there are cards that can destroy items. Action cards are one-time use effects that are typically extremely powerful. Their effects, unlike item cards, are triggered immediately. A special category of action cards are songs that can be paired with certain characters to be used for free. They can definitely change the tide of battle, so don't forget to include them in your decks. Now that we have an ink in our inkwell, let's see how we can utilize it to play a character. Playing a character means putting the character in the battlefield. Since we have only 1 ink available, let's try to play Flounder. To play him, we need to exert the 1 ink we have. To do that, we simply turn the ink we have sideways, so we know it has already been used and cannot be used for other cards. A special rule in Lorcana is that characters cannot be used the turn they are played, which is why we placed Flounder a bit behind our deck. This is referred as ink drying. With no more plays, our opponent can now take their turn. They also start with no ink available. They are showing their Timon to make sure he is not inkless and put him in the inkwell. They seem to have a second one that they want to play, so the available ink is exerted. Remember that the character is still drying and he is put a bit behind the deck. Now, let's start our turn. At the beginning of each turn, 3 actions happen: ready, set, and draw. Ready means we get to turn all our cards from exerted to ready position, so we can reuse them. In our case, our ink is readied. Set means that all characters played in the previous turn can now be used for quests or challenges. Our Flounder is now moved to the front row. Finally, draw means we get to draw 1 card to our hand. It looks like we got Donald Duck. Always remember the 3 actions: ready, set and draw. Questing is the main way we can get lore, so we can win the game. Each character, once readied, can be used to quest. To do so, simply exert the chosen character and add their lore value to your lore counter. Flounder only has 1 lore, so let's add 1. Before we end our turn, let's set Jasmine in our inkwell and let's play our second flounder. It's now our opponent's turn. They start by readying their ink and setting their Timon. It looks like they want to use their character for a quest and thus get +1 lore. They are also adding yet another Timon to their inkwell. With their 2 available ink, they can now play an action card, 1 jump ahead. This lets them put a card from their deck face down in the inkwell. That is a very powerful effect. Let's start our turn by doing the usual: ready, set and draw. We have 2 things to ready this time, our ink and our first flounder. Now, let's also set our second flounder in the field. Let's also draw 1 card and add it to our hand. It seems we drew Magic Golden Flower. Now that the opponent had his character quest, we can challenge this character with one of our own. When a challenge occurs, both characters use their strength and willpower. In our case, Flounder does 2 points of damage to Timon due to his strength. Timon also does 1 point of damage to Flounder. Since Timon is out of willpower, he is banished, but our Flounder survives with 1 willpower left. The damage sustained in challenges carries over, meaning your small characters can take out big ones if they group together. Remember that in order to challenge an opposing character, he needs to be exerted. Since our Flounder received damage, it's a good opportunity to illustrate the use of items. We can exert one of our inks and play our Magic Golden Flower. Its effect, unlike characters, can be immediately used. We banish it to remove 3 damage counters from Flounder, bringing him back to 2 willpower. The final lesson for today are character abilities. Let's look at an example. Our opponent first readies all his ink and then plays Mickey Mouse the Detective. This character has the ability to add the top card of your deck immediately face down as an ink. There are tons of unique character abilities for you to discover in your decks, so try and experiment with them. It's been a long lesson, so let's quickly recap. Remember, at the start of every turn, ready, set and draw. During your own turn, you can put a card to your inkwell if it's not inkless. You can also play any number of cards based on your available ink. All cards that have been readied can quest or challenge other exerted characters. You can also activate any relevant abilities. Finally, don't forget the objective: to be the first one to reach 20 lore. And there you have it, fellow adventurers. That concludes our journey through the fascinating world of Lorcana. I hope you've enjoyed this instructional video and that it has helped you on your quest to master this incredible game. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video helpful, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting Lorcana content, including tips, tricks, and epic adventures. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments section below.